We are live.
All right. I'd like to call the meeting to order and start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First action we need to take this today is the approval of the agenda. Any additions, modifications? Hearing none, I entertain a motion to accept it as presented.
I make a motion.
I'll second it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 2-0. Public comment. Come on up, Molly.
Molly, do you care to sign the sheet real quick too?
Because I'm making a public comment.
Yep.
How are we tonight?
Peachy.
How are
Feels
you?
Like it's 9 o'clock at night.
I
As dark
know.
as it is.
My name's Molly. I'm with the animal shelter. And I was reviewing our contract. And I just want to touch base with you all and just make sure that we're clear on term and effective date. It says that this agreement shall be effective upon execution agreement and terminate on December 31st, 2023, unless terminated earlier as provided herein. This agreement shall be automatically renewed for an additional year unless notice of termination is given by either party no later than December 1st of any year. So I read that as this is going to automatically renew unless you tell me no go or I tell you I'm done. Is that how you
Yes.
interpret this?
December 1st.
Okay.
Mhm.
So would this be addressed at the December meeting?
I think
Because
the
that's
December
gonna be-
meeting is too late.
Correct. So that's why I'm here tonight, just to touch base, because I think this is the last meeting before
Mhm.
December 1st.
Correct. You're not quitting, are you?
Not as of, what time is it?
You're not going anywhere. You do too good of a job.
I'm not interested in getting rid of the river either,
Oh,
so I
no,
mean.
she ain't going
it's,
nowhere.
it's, I
So
don't,
we want to proceed on and this will automatically.
it'll automatically renew. yes,
Okay.
yes.
So we.
The only thing we need to do is, we need to look at those interlocal agreements to make sure they have the same clause in them, and they may need to be re-signed again.
Okay,
But that's on our end.
okay.
There's no
For
changes you request in any of the contract.
No, it's fine on my end.
Okay,
Okay,
Great.
that's all I have. I just
All right.
wanted to just touch base with you all.
great.
Because this is my first time doing this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think Eric Dickinson next.
So Eric, you want to talk to us also? For yourself or for the sheriff's department?
For the sheriff.
Okay.
And for the sheriff's office, yes, sir. Harry Dickinson, Perry County Sheriff's Office. I was here on, for Alan, he's turned ill, so it's been a step in for him. We was wanting to seek your permission to trade in one of our pool vehicles.
They can't hear you.
We was wanting to see if you would consider letting us trade in one of the pool vehicles. This would be the 2012 Dodge Ram. It has approximately 99,000 miles, and it's currently in need of repair, and the repairs are going to run approximately $1,000. And I brought a picture so that you can see where the biggest problem is. It's no longer connected, it's rusted through.
This is on the front end on the, mhm.
It's mainly been used at the sheriff's office as a 4x4 winter vehicle. Before we had pickup trucks, this was the first one out, so if there was snow or ice, that was typically the first one that was out. So the winter snow and the ice is,
Elements.
yeah, and the salt has wreaked havoc on the metal and the rubber bushings. in preparation for hiring 2 new deputies, there was discussion with the council about how we would handle the fleet. And the sheriff and I had talked, and we believe that one of the pool vehicles would be suitable to issue, and then we were going to purchase a vehicle. And we was wanting your permission to be able to trade this one in. They're offering a $7,000 for this 2012 Ram.
Is that fixed or as is?
As is.
And who are you dealing with?
Dealing with a dealership called Frederick Chevrolet.
So you're going from a Dodge to a Chevy.
Yes.
And where are they located?
They're located in Lebanon, Pennsylvania.
Oh my.
We did some checking around Indiana. Indiana doesn't have any of the Tahoes. They have offered, Frederick Chevrolet has offered a price for this Tahoe at their state contract, which is $46,000. The trade-in would be $7,000. That would leave a difference of $39,000. And they are willing to deliver the vehicle so that they can pick up the trade-in when it's time to do business. So that was kind of a win for us, so we didn't have to travel that far.
It cost us 39?
It would be a difference of 39. Yeah. Mhm.
Okay, you're saying that it'll be the difference of 39,000. Okay, is this equipped?
There is equipment inside of this vehicle, and we are going to repurpose that equipment.
Transferred over to that vehicle?
The only piece of equipment that I'm aware of that will need to be purchased for the new one is the console. It's what with the radios.
Do you have any idea what that cost would be?
On the console, I do not.
And who would do that work?
We would likely have Ohio Valley do the work.
So you have no idea what that will cost?
I do not. But that would be the only part that I'm aware of that would need to be purchased. Everything else would be repurposed from the current pool truck.
So how are you proposing to pay for this?
I believe Alan is prepared to use the commissary to pay for this so that we don't have to come back. I think the council did us so good with the 2 new additions and with the raises that we got. We were trying to be good stewards. So
This will come out of the commissary fund?
commissary, yes.
All of it?
All of it.
Even the replacement by Ohio Valley of the console?
And this is an actual pool vehicle?
It's our oldest pickup truck that we have.
Was somebody driving this and discovered this was rusted out like that?
It went in for service and it was discovered. It went in for routine service, so. A little scary.
So this is one vehicle that is going to be used mainly for weather conditions, or
It would be, this one would be 4-wheel drive as well. We're going from a 4-wheel drive. It's a, what they call the Ram 1500 SSV is what we currently have. So it's a special service vehicle. And it is a 4x4. And it's my understanding that this Tahoe would be a 4x4 as well. Also a special service.
But I think you said you're gonna pull it out, you're actually gonna use the new vehicle.
Yeah.
And then this was a pool
That was a
vehicle,
pool vehicle.
so it wasn't in daily service.
so will the new one be used as a pool
The
vehicle?
new one will be daily service.
have you hired a new deputy yet where you need a vehicle?
No, sir.
So you're gonna put another one into pool until you hire another deputy or
Yeah.
something.
We're just trying to get prepared for the beginning of the year. And these things are so hard to find. They're hard. We're familiar with the Kelly Chevrolet, which is one that we have done business with in the past many years ago. And the sheriff called and said, do you have any Tahoes? And he just laughed at him. He was like, no. So, but we were able to find this one. In fact, their state bid price was cheaper than what Kelly was offering. So,
Now, I'm sure this new Tahoe will have a warranty and everything, correct?
yes, ma'am.
And where will that be taken for service? What dealership?
We have not had a Chevy in our fleet for quite a long time, so that is something that would have to be discussed.
What year is it?
The last Chevy that we had,
No, I'm talking
No,
about this vehicle.
The Tahoe
it's 2023. Yep,
with
it's brand new.
brand new, okay.
What do you think?
Well, and how many vehicles were you going to try to purchase?
We're going to purchase one, and then we were going to use a pool vehicle for the second deputy, just to be able to, and we'll be in still in pretty decent shape. That'll still leave us with a pool charger and another pool vehicle. So we're trading in one. We would reissue a pool vehicle. That would leave us with two pool vehicles.
And you just got one not too long ago, right?
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah, and we traded one for one, so the fleet didn't increase in size, but that put that particular vehicle put us in a little bit better shape because it was pushing almost 100,000 miles too. So, and the amount of money that they offered us for a trade-in on that one was good.
A lot more than it was for this one.
So, if I'm understanding correctly, you're still gonna have two pool vehicles?
Yes, sir.
After you trade this?
Yes, sir.
The only thing, it'll impact our insurance. Because you're gonna go from a 2012
12
up to a
to
23.
23.
Value's gonna go up, so I don't think the fuel mileage will change significantly, and insurance will be our only impact.
What type of motor does this have in it, the Tahoe?
It should have, if it's an SSV, it should have a V8 in it.
And it is four-wheel drive. So that will leave you, how many vehicles you're going to need?
We'll be, I think, issuing the one pool vehicle, and we had explained to the council when we were in budget talks that having a pool vehicle to issue puts us in good shape. Purchasing one brand new would help, and that's exactly what the plan was. Not to purchase two, not right away, but to utilize what we have with one, purchase one, and then as we move into looking at this fleet analysis a little further, and as we get closer to the lease expiring on the 5 Dodge pickup trucks that we currently have, it'll be nice to be able to sit down with some elected leaders to look at to see how we want to proceed.
When does that lease expire?
We will need to address it in 2024, and I'm thinking it's in the fourth quarter of the year. So we have some time still to look to see what options we have. I think the biggest variable that we can't answer at the moment is what the market's going to look like when we trade these things in
Yeah.
to see.
The question, do you have anything budgeted for replacement of these vehicles? So nothing, so.
I'm hopeful with the market of the pickup trucks, and the market could change between now and the time we trade them in. But I'm hopeful that the market of pickup trucks kind of remains the same. They carry pretty good trade-in values. So anything that is over what is owed at the end of the lease is one of the things that was discussed. Was if we continued with that particular lease, we had questions about what does the future look like. Well, the future, he said, likely, if the market was favorable, instead of leasing 5 trucks, you could hypothetically trade them in, you get the value, you put the value back in the lease program, you get 6 trucks at the same amount that you're paying now, and then that's how you build the fleet from, because we always had the question, we've got some that we own, and the lease didn't answer, for the ones that we currently own, what are we going to do? What is that going to look like? So he was thinking that it would bring in enough value to not change the annual payment that we were making and actually get another vehicle out of it.
We're gonna have to see that in writing, because I think you're trading your equity. And that works for one round.
Mhm.
Then the next round, you're a little farther underneath the rock.
Yeah.
But,
you will be purchasing this one, correct?
Yeah, trading this one in on the purchase of a new one.
And how many will you have on lease then?
That doesn't, yeah, so this has nothing to do with the lease. This would be one that we purchase outright.
No, but I'm saying how many will you have over there that will be on lease?
Oh, there's 5 trucks currently on the lease.
he said coming up in 24.
You know, latter part?
Latter part of
24.
24. Should be the 4th quarter. I'll double check the contract date.
I assume you're wanting a decision on this right now, aren't you?
If possible. I don't think they're going to hold it for us.
Here's where I would appreciate, did you know this before just this evening?
I didn't know that I was going to be here this evening.
Did Alan know he was gonna be here this evening?
I would assume.
When did you discover this was broke?
This has been at the shop for a while.
Okay. What this does to us, it puts us in a situation where we ask you a lot of questions. Had we actually had a little moment to think about this and discuss it, maybe do a little research, it makes a much more informed, better decision on our part. So when you come up here and you bring something forward like this here and you say it's kind of urgent because they're going to be selling the Tahoe that's at the dealership tomorrow or whatever that may be, it kind of puts us in an uncomfortable situation. And I would appreciate you bringing information, at least emailing it something to us so we can be aware rather than public comment. It's not even on our agenda.
I understand.
And we get hit with something like this.
I think the variable that put it into getting this in front of you quickly is that the email came in on Monday at 8 p.m. with what they were going to, so that we could come and say, okay, they're going to sell to us for this much. This is how much they're offering us in trade, and what the difference was. So,
But this is Tuesday at 6 o'clock. So
Our next meeting is when, Chris?
December 4th.
December 4th, okay.
after basically this, mostly the holidays.
Yes.
You want to table it till that meeting? Give us an
I would like
opportunity
to get,
to think through this process.
at least email us something,
Mhm.
and then, and it's, December 4th is not that far away.
we'll get you something on paper on it. I'll sit down with Alan. We'll send you something.
Okay.
I'll send you that
picture of that so you can see it. That's what
No, I can tell you.
Oh, I know. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. Next item up is the minutes from 11:06:23. Any additions, modification, changes? If none, I'd entertain a motion to accept those minutes as written.
You said 11:03.
11:06. My first mistake. I'd entertain a motion to accept them as presented.
I make a motion.
I'll second it. All those in favor?
Aye.
2-0. Chris, you're up with the rest of your things, and I'm gonna let you read them so I don't miss you.
All right, we have 11/20 payroll in the amount of 160,217.79. I'll take these individually so we can have the motions.
Yeah, do you still get,
We get credit.
She
you
reads
get
them
credit for every,
she does.
and that's good. That's good.
I'll make a motion to approve the payroll.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Then we have our health insurance claims in the amount of $70,267.41.
I make a motion.
I'll second that. But Chris, is that for a month? Do you remember, or is that just from the last time we met?
That's just from the
whatever
last time.
Okay,
Mhm.
gotcha.
Yeah, we get these weekly.
Okay.
Yep, so.
All right. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Flex spending since the last meeting is $771.79.
I'll make a motion to accept the payment of the flex account.
I'll second that motion. Chris, I know at one of the meetings you said something about the flex spending. You were going to change that where they can't
We're actually,
borrow from it.
Yep.
And then if they should happen to leave the employment, that you're not stuck with.
correct. And yeah, I know Brandy will probably talk about it as we go on. I don't know if you had time to review all of it. I know there was a lot of paper with the health insurance, but we're actually doing away with flex spending in 2024.
It's kind of a pain just to.
I mean, it's just something else to keep up with.
Yes, yes.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
And then we have the 11/21 claim docket in the amount of $556,251.77.
Wait a minute, where are we at?
That's number D.
I've got 2008, 252.29.
There was, you got, there's, yeah. We had to
Latest and the
add,
greatest.
we had to add the 17th, remember
Oh, yeah,
was that right?
Okay.
Was that, our dates right?
yeah.
We had a 17th claim docket and that, so.
Entertain a motion to accept the claim docket as presented.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, I just made it then. All those in favor?
Aye.
2-0.
Thank you.
Next one up is additional appropriations, Perry County Highway Community Crossings Grant. Steve? I think we all know what this is, but go ahead and tell us.
Steve Howe, Perry County Highway Department. I'm asking for your approval for additional appropriation for $863,400. This is the money that we received from the state through the community crossings. Has to be appropriated before we can pay the bills. I mean, the money's there already.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's just the paving that you did here in the last
Yes.
month or two. Back up.
I'll make a motion to pay it.
I'll second it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
How's your new toy doing?
Well, we've used it a couple days. It's doing real well.
When can I drive it?
Whenever you come out there.
She
Okay.
hadn't been trained, don't let her in there.
I could probably train them.
So my question is it operating as expected?
Yes.
Okay.
Better than expected.
Better than
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, the operator's really impressed with it.
That's another question I had, because I remember I had asked you how many people you were training on that.
Yeah, we just got the operator and the two mechanics.
Okay. What if the operator is not there and something has to be done?
And we've got other A-boom operators that can run it.
Mhm.
We just didn't have them at the training session that we had. We aim to just have the one guy on it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way it's,
as much as possible.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's the way it's been in the past. Well, we don't run it all the time. We have to pull off to grade roads and haul rock and different things, so usually it's worked out with the other one that he's one operator. We've got two machines and two operators, and they're the only ones that operate them.
Okay.
For those of you that are questioning, the county invested, Steve recommended a specialty. It's not really a tractor, it's
It's
a
an
device for mowing
Yeah,
along highways,
As
roads,
an arm.
and it's built specifically for that use. It doesn't look like the tractors that we normally see.
no,
And that's why the questions is how it is performing. It looks like it'll be an excellent purchase.
It's pretty cool looking, I think.
yeah, it is.
So,
Thank you.
next item up is the PSAP, the 911 payment for $46,555. And I sat through the council meeting to get my information. And apparently, when they had their joint meeting with the city of Tell City, they were in agreement to pay an additional sum of money for those services. So we weren't involved with that, but I trust the council sufficiently carried out the needs. I'd entertain a motion to grant that.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it. All those in favor?
Aye.
2-0. Aye. Ambulance service, 185-447-81. And I see a couple folks here.
Mr. Jared,
Good evening.
how are you?
Good, how are you?
Pretty good.
So we were requesting $185,447.81 for operational expenses from June through December of this year, and then $11,000 for garage door repair.
What exactly is wrong with the garage doors?
It won't, there's one of them, if you just drive by and look at it, it won't even close all the way. We've had people come and look at it, and it's unrepairable. One of them has to be repaired or replaced completely.
One has to be completely replaced.
And I don't remember if that's what the other one has to as well. Yeah, so they have to get out and open them manually.
You mean the operators don't work
No,
on any of them?
not on some of them they do, but some of them-
How old are these doors? Do you know?
probably as old as the building.
Well, that ain't that old.
2014, 15, something like that. I think that's when they.
I bet Steve's got a mechanic that can fix them. What do you think, Steve?
We've been getting up for ours.
And what, do you know what company that you would use to repair these garage doors?
Yeah, I believe it's the same company that installed them. I don't think I have a quote with me. Do you know, Kayla? That's what Brandon, I asked Brandon about that, why he used that company, and that's that contracted company that the hospital uses through a purchasing agreement that we have.
And what they're saying is that there's no, the doors can't be repaired. They have to be completely replaced.
Some of them can be repaired, but some of them have to be replaced, yeah.
So
it's
you
a
have
combination.
4 doors.
Mhm.
2 need to be replaced and 2 can be repaired.
That's my understanding.
Okay.
Yeah.
2 bottom sections of every door need replaced at a minimum.
So somebody's been hitting them.
When I talked to
That's what
Keith
usually
about it,
happens
so
to your bottom.
so
You
Keith,
take off before.
Keith reviewed the quote with me. He said they're not commercial doors is the problem when they were installed.
They're not commercial doors.
That's what he said.
Those are pretty good sized doors.
And they have commercial operators on them. It's not the household type. They're a gear driven on the side of them. So.
It's hard to say. I mean, obviously I'm not going to know if they've been ran into or not.
Well, generally it happens to the lower panel. It's on its way up and it didn't quite make it whenever somebody went out.
Yeah, I know when
Yeah,
my girls start driving, I know how that works.
The other thing is, I don't necessarily have anything on any of the documentation as far as your monthly requirements, but I did look up the contract. And did anybody ever send you that?
the contract I have is the one from 1986, and then I have an
That's it.
amendment in 2014.
That is it.
Okay.
And just looking through this thing, It says here, the obligation of Perry County to make payments under the terms of this contract shall not exceed funds appropriated by the Perry County Council. I'm thinking this year, and this takes me back to, I think, we went out there initially, 3 of us in January and you weren't here yet, Jared, because of not having the additional ambulance operating, and we were concerned there was times that the county wasn't covered. And then we came back, we exchanged numbers, came back and had another discussion, maybe February or early March or something of that nature. But at that time, we had, I think, $215,000 that was appropriated for ambulance service. And one of their challenges was the pay of the EMT paramedics, and that just wasn't up to be competitive. And at that time, they asked us for an additional $25,000 appropriation, which we said we would be willing to do that. And then we were told that after that time, that Medicare compensation, I think, would maybe increase the 1st of July.
Medicaid was supposed to, yeah.
Yeah,
And,
it's up to $7 a
That's
mile.
correct.
Something to, and that would bring in additional revenue, and they should be good for the year.
Yeah, I don't know that, I mean, my understanding, I don't think that additional revenue was ever going to be enough to cover the expenses of the hospital. It was going to improve for sure, but it depends on the transports that we have.
But that's what we were,
Yeah.
that's what was the incentive to get the 25, and then they felt like that would, the additional revenue would come in to help meet the additional wages and that. So we're looking at 180. If we just back the doors out, we're probably looking at 175,000 or something, just round numbers. And what concerns me is, I believe you're only budgeted $215,000 for 24.
275, 215, and then 60.
60 for equipment.
So it's
though.
275.
No, there's 60 for ambulance service and public safety as well. So there's 215,000 out of commissioner, out of general.
Okay.
And there's also 60 for ambulance service. And then there's also equipment. The 60 there's also 60. I can go grab my laptop. I didn't bring it today.
So 60 in addition to the 215.
Yeah, so they get
So They have
275.
275.
And that doesn't include capital?
No.
So that should be, to me, that should be fine in 2024, because we are switching over our billing company from the company we use now. It'll be go into effect in January 2024. So the company we use now, we collect 20 cents on the dollar. We move to a company that Deaconess uses that collects 32 cents on the dollar. So if we were to get 10% of our gross revenue, that should be around $200,000.
I don't think, honestly, now that I think about it, it's under ambulance services, and the 215 is under ambulance services and commissioners and the general. And then the 60 is under public safety, under ambulance services. I think that's it. And then we did 10,000 for an ambulance lease. We did 10,000 for an ambulance lease. So the total you get, it's all, whether it's capital or whatever, is the 275.
Okay.
It's the
See,
same
and
as,
I
yeah.
was thinking that the 60, and I'm just doing this out of memory.
It's
I
just
thought
out
that
of the
was out
same
of,
account. It's the same account. It's called ambulance services, but I think there's no separate for your capital. It's all
Okay.
under ambulance services. So the only thing, so like this year, we budgeted 215,000 out of commissioner. We budgeted 60 in public safety. And then we did an additional 25
Mhm.
out of
For the ambulance,
commissioners.
yes.
So they got a total of 300 this year.
Correct.
What's budgeted next year is just the 275.
Right, and they're asking now for an additional 175 to subsidize the ambulance service through the end of the year.
Yeah, so if we get 275 for next year, that's going to leave us, according to the budget, about $600,000 short, which I don't think it's going to be that aggressive. But that's quite a huge cover for the hospital to have to cover for the EMS.
Right.
Assuming we go out, we need an ambulance, we have to purchase an ambulance, and we have to get the cardiac monitors and all that stuff.
Well, that's the capital end of it.
Right.
So,
The way we look at it is when you send us that, we pay all of the when you send us those monthlies, we pay it out of the 215 commissioners first. And then whenever, basically every time, then we move on to the public safety. And if your ambulance service eats up all of that, then there's nothing left for the capital improvements. It's all lumped in
Yeah, I
one
understand.
account of ambulance services.
So on this, Chris, it's showing 240,000 that will have been completely expended,
Yeah, when Kayla and I
and
had
60,000 will have been completely expended.
yes,
This
as
for
of
June,
right now.
July, and August claims.
Okay, let me go back, because her and I talked, this was all via email. So, yes, the full 300 has now been expended
Mhm.
because, a payment of $30,991.90 was issued on 10/6. After the approval of the claim docket on 10/6. An additional appropriation request for the 25,000 was submitted to the county council on 10/19, which they had made a verbal. They just hadn't done the paperwork on it and told me where to take it out of. So then they did that. That was approved and paid out on the 11/6 claim docket. So after these payments, there was no remaining allocation for funding of the ambulance service out of Fund 1,38700, location 68, or out of all, so the 240 had been expended, and then the 60,000 had been expended from Public Safety Fund 1170-38700. So then, so that was as of October and as of November 6th, then basically all 300 has been expended. So I since have, I don't think those expenditures, I know you guys send the P&L
Mhm.
and it didn't pay the full amount of September. Am I being speaking correct? It didn't pay the full amount of September, but I expended everything that I was allowed
So it's
to.
300 just for 2023? Okay, so, because that's exactly what I show is the 300 too. And that, so we use some of that 300 to cover 2022 expenses. So that's why we have the shortfall in 2023.
Because that's what was decided by the council, because I didn't receive those invoices until April. And none of when we cut off, we talked about this in April.
I understand all that, and that's
Yeah.
before any of us were here, so it's hard to
Yeah.
speak to it.
You actually came in when?
May.
May. That's, I knew it was somewhere now, I just didn't know when.
I think they changed CFOs out there a time or two or something, and possibly.
Yeah, they haven't had a CFO for a year, I think, before Randy. Randy got here in April.
I thought,
Let's see what,
it was April.
he's the CEO.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
The, see, that, what in effect hasn't happened in the county is as those funds aren't expended for what they're budgeted, they roll over and then they're
Yeah, I
used
understand
for
that.
other uses. And it's kind of puts us behind the same rock you're behind. If 23 funding was used for 22. I'm glad to hear you're gonna get 24 worked out with what they've got budgeted, though. That's good. That's comforting.
That's
'Cause
our
I was-
plan.
I was a little concerned here with these amounts of money, and then we're,
But we
Adding
can't
for
continue to
additional.
have losses like we're having and not do
No.
anything about it. So
Right.
we have to make some actions.
right. And part of this is, and I haven't seen one of these, I mean, there's requirements under this contract, and I read it years ago, and I went back and read it before tonight, about actually kind of keeping us informed
Mhm.
about the cost and the monthly as the expenses go along, so that we don't get into a situation where we're
Right.
looking
That's a
for-
problem. I think we're in a situation now, just, it's kind of a catch up from.
Yeah. It's a lot of money for 23 yet.
The 24 is looking okay so
Well,
far.
if they get additional revenue in from their
Mhm.
provider who collects the bills, I mean, that will help, because
Well, and then you're opening some different services also, such as cardiac
But
rehab.
that's
We
not
have
gonna
more trucks on the
subsidize.
road to pick up more patients and do more transport reports and
Mhm.
we should have more employed staff, so we're not using overtime. So there's a lot of good things we have going for us in 2024 that should lower our losses.
So what do you think, Brandon?
I'm thinking we need to have further discussions on this because I'm not, it's a lot of money to have requested. I mean, it would have been, especially when we look on down at the rest of them. Is it gonna be critical to you if we sit down with you and have some discussions on how we might
No, I don't mind that at all.
address these things? Okay. That would be my preference, to engage with them in a
Yeah.
potential solution because,
More information is better.
and
I mean, I know the information is here, but there's got to be some ways that we can help try to cover these costs.
And we probably, while we're doing that, we need to review this ambulance service contract
I agree.
and try to get it into at least,
It's very outdated.
it's back in the 80s. And
I can't even find an agreement between the county and the hospital for the building and who rents it and what the lease agreement is.
I think it's just mentioned there with that addendum on this thing. And I think I'm using, JB may know, he signed it, that my understanding was they just didn't want to build that ambulance facility.
Right.
And then the county chooses to go another direction. They're stuck with a building that they're trying to get
Yeah,
some kind of.
That's
use.
all that it refers to in the agreement, is
Yeah.
that what your statement you just mentioned, because I looked for it to see who's gonna cover the cost of the doors. Is that the
And there
resort
wasn't
or the
anything in there.
No,
And
was
I
just-
think the ownership of the building is actually the hospital.
that's correct.
So it's, but you've got as much information as I got. I just remember as the time when I think that was the discussion. They just
Yeah,
wanted to
there's
make sure.
certainly some clarifications so we can
Work
make
building.
in a new agreement.
So let's schedule a time and we'll sit down and chat.
Okay,
And I do want everyone to know that your cardiac rehab will be up and running December the 2nd, and you're having an open house November 30th.
Yep.
And I think that will be a great asset to this county and surrounding counties, and even surrounding state as Kentucky. Because I know when they did have the cardiac rehab out here, it stayed full. And even if people just went in there to socialize and get on a bicycle, they were getting their exercise and all the gossip they could get. But I mean, that's, am I right, JB?
Right.
it's very important to us.
But I mean, and the hospital's making money with this. And
It's good.
because I know a few people that are just really excited about this coming back here. So they
That's
don't
good.
have to travel to Owensboro,
Yeah.
Evansville, Jasper, Louisville.
And we've done a lot of things to keep patients here in Perry County.
Right. And I'm very proud of you for that.
So do I wait to hear from whom?
Mr. Cole,
Schedule
Yeah,
something?
we'll set down a time. I can send you an
Okay.
email tomorrow to see what kind of
Sounds good.
dates you have available. It's going to be into December though, I'm telling you now.
All right. Sounds good.
November's rushing to an end here with the holidays. So,
Okay.
Thank you
All right.
guys for everything.
You're welcome.
thank you.
Thank you.
next item up is, we got another pleasant one. Care of patients and institutions for $55,000, 02624. And as we've discussed that previous times, that's for juvenile detention. I don't know that we have a choice.
I submitted this just so you guys know kind of what I've done. The current invoice due, which is actually, all right, let me think about this. This is October. No, this is October and, no, the end of October, because one of them we get the end of October, the other one we get the beginning of November. So this is for basically what I would call the October care of
For the
patients
month of October.
for the month of October. One of them bills like mid-month, the other one bills like November 3rd. So the bill for October was $25,026.24. What I figured was we'll have another bill in October, or for November and December. So that's why I just added 30,000 on there, because I don't want to have to come back for another additional
Okay.
appropriation. I want to be able to pay this bill and get them paid. Because this is one here, I just want to point out, I literally get an email from one of these locations every day. And so does, I'm pretty sure the judge is copied on the email too, that it's past due, it's past due, it's past due. I know I've spoke with Judge Goffnet, about the concerns with this, at the fact that if we're gonna be up a creek, if this location says, hey, we're not gonna deal with you guys anymore because of this bill, and then we would have, because of the relations of that, and then we would have to go even further up north to take these kids there, and which would in a sense cost us more. I know that we're not going to come into this situation the beginning part of 2024, but this is one of those things that we need to watch closely, and what's the actual doing an additional appropriation each month. I don't think it's a bad idea for us to, of course, look at it and know how much we're spending, but with us having to wait the timing of going from the commissioners to the council, it's going to, and then back to the commissioners.
Time consuming.
Time consuming, and it takes time from getting these bills paid. So I definitely feel like this is something we need to watch and see how much we're spending, but it's kind of been a little bit hard doing the additional appropriations monthly.
And my question is,
Mhm.
how much have we paid out this year? Do you have a general idea?
We were at 242, so then you add 25 on it.
25, 242, so we're up to $265,000.
And then you're anticipating 25,000
Well, I
more?
just did another 30, I'm
Yep,
hoping, I mean, they
another
went
30.
down, because they used to be, they were like 40 and
A month.
And it was
a month.
budgeted for next year to be,
100, we budgeted 150.
oh, that ain't gonna get it.
Let's hope it does.
212, thank you, yeah, 212, 150 is what popper. Here's the whole thing, you can, not get into the whole budget thing, but we can, do adjustments after we do the annual financial report as far as what our cash balances and stuff are. Yeah, hopefully, but there's years before, there was only budgeted 70 this year. In years before,
Mhm.
that was enough.
Enough, yeah.
So,
This has been a bad,
Yeah.
bad year.
Do they send you an itemized statement of everything? Could you possibly email that to me?
I do email that to you guys. You should have it with the stuff, but I can give you, if you,
Well, I mean,
the sporting,
okay.
but I can
Yeah.
print you out a copy if you need one,
Oh, that'd be fine.
Yeah.
I'm curious
as
because,
to what it's for.
yeah,
They just, it doesn't have it just has like a daily rate.
mhm,
That's all it has.
Just a
is
daily rate.
The daily rate.
How many people you
How
have?
how many people on the daily rate?
Yep.
Okay,
Before, and I think they've raised the price. The first 30 days was 200, and then it went to 250 after
per day.
per day. And they raised that on us. I don't know what the new rate
I'll take
is.
some of them in.
But, yeah, but that's, so it accumulates extremely fast.
Yeah, there's a farm there.
Yeah.
They'll work that and off.
So Chris, does this roll back into the general fund if we don't use it?
Correct.
Okay, so it's not a big deal.
Yeah. The appropriation's just there if we don't use it. I just went ahead and
Rolls
thought,
back.
Yeah.
I mean, it has to be paid.
I know, we don't have a
It
choice.
just, there is no choice.
We don't have a choice.
Chris, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
So you were talking about,
Kelly.
they're already calling it, sorry.
Oh.
They're already calling that it's past due, and I thought last meeting, and I could be wrong, but I thought I heard you say they were from September. There were some from September.
the way they bill, so one of them bills like mid-October. So it's like you're getting half of September and half of
Okay.
October.
'Cause
The other one bills differently.
I'm just trying to wonder, I'm confused why they say they're late, but I mean, if this is an October bill, it's just November. I mean, do we have net 30? Do we have, I mean, what kind of terms do they give us? Do we have a terms? Can we establish
and
maybe
here's
net
my whole
60 or
thing.
something? Because it's government and nothing moves
This
fast.
is what I think. I think that they have an automatic email
Oh,
that
Okay.
sends
yeah.
out.
I mean, is it a discussion we need to have with them? Is there a possibility of net 45 or net 60 because of this situation? Maybe that way they know what to expect from us so that they know we're not just ignoring them or
Right.
trying to drag this out or get a bad reputation or
They'll
whatever.
email, I've got an email correspondence, and most of the time, when I email back them individually, and when it gets to that point, if it's, I email them and say, it's going to the council on this
Yeah.
date, then it will go, it'll be paid out on this claim docket. I honestly feel that and if I call them, I've had it stop before, whereas
Yeah.
but I think it's just like they've got a system where
Okay.
it's just an automatic, and I honestly feel they have it set up on 15 days.
Well, is that a conversation? I don't know who has it,
Maybe
commissioner,
not.
or maybe you guys, and say, look, the way our meetings are and the way this has to go through a governmental process, surely they're used to this.
Yeah.
Can we get net 60? What do we need to do? Because we
Okay.
don't want to be late or whatever it is, net 75, net 45, whatever you
Yeah.
guys decide. But that way we're consistent and they know that they're going to expect it
We're
on a
gonna
certain
pay it.
time frame.
Yeah, is there a late
So that we
fee
don't get a,
that they
black eye.
charge if you don't pay on time?
We've not paid one.
well, but we don't want to get a bad reputation to
know,
where
I
we
know.
have to start going somewhere else either. I
And it's
mean,
like she
at
said,
least
you
if we
don't wanna-
establish it and we have a,
Yeah, we don't have to send them
consistent thing
further
that we
north.
try
I'll do that, and we should be good, hopefully,
You know,
in
Yeah.
2024.
I just wondered if,
Yeah,
if you talk to
I'll
them,
make
maybe you
that,
can ask.
if we send them further north, we don't know what the cost of that'll be.
It
You know.
won't be any cheaper.
Yeah, I know, it could be higher. So
Well,
I make a motion, we pay it.
I got a motion. I'll second it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next item is consulting services for $8,000.
Okay, well, Chris had a little bit of a typo on this too, so I wanted to cover this both ways. We have had a lot of learning this year, both with the annual financial report and budget season. I can honestly say that I don't think that, not saying I'll be able to handle everything thrown at me next year with AFR and budget, but I feel like I have definitely, and we have all together learned a lot. And so we have a bill, which I think I sent that to you guys, for, that is just the budget consulting. Which, like I said, I learned a lot. We got a lot of questions through budget and everything. I'm trying to find my paper. So this is to be paid out of Riverboat. I had put auditor, but I put on the advertisement, I put 0068, which is your guys' location, but it actually should have been 002. So I just want to kind of cover that, hey, I don't care whose location, if we pay it out of, I just got to pay the bill, whether we pay it out of my, do an additional for my line item of 002, or we do it out of yours of 008. But this will be the final bill, hopefully with,
For 23.
for 23. And I really don't foresee needing this much consulting next year, personally myself.
And that's done from what consulting firm?
Baker Tilly. Baker Tilly. We use them for the AFR, the annual financial report, which I work on diligently January and February. It's typically due March 1st. And then they consulted with us through the entire budget season. And I sent you guys a copy of that bill. So,
Any other questions?
Mm-mm.
You entertain a motion to accept the $8,000 charge? Let's put it in the auditor's though.
okay, oh, too.
I make that motion.
I'll second it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Next one up is the transfers from the administrative salary to the software account. This is what we had discussed before. We were using that administrative salary that was budgeted for 23, that the position wasn't filled,
Mm-hmm.
to pay for the time and attendance system. So this is just carrying that out, correct?
Correct. And we are going to, I spoke with Ann Island. We're going to lease the equipment. It's a better deal for leasing rather than buying it outright because they'll pretty much just take care of us like they always do.
Well, the money's there.
That's what we planned on doing.
Yep.
And you are satisfied with everything and you're comfortable?
Yes, we are starting, we actually had our training, first training yesterday. Had the whole Ann Highland team here diligently working with all of the employees. I'm super anxious for this. We're going to actually start doing this, using the system December 3rd.
That's why I was wondering when it was gonna be implemented.
Yep, we're gonna start using it December 3rd, which will be the start of our pay period for January 2nd's payroll. We just think that's a good idea for us to go ahead and start rolling it out. I do want to reiterate, I know I've had a lot of questions that have been coming our direction with the trainings. We are, in a sense, kind of leaving this open to the department heads as to their choice of which route of logging the time they want to use. The reason I see that is most of our department heads are elected officials, and I'm not going to go in and tell them how they're going to manage their people. I just want the information to get to me. So they've got the option of a thumbprint, so they can have their employees do a thumbprint. Everyone with the computer can go onto their computer, and it's web-based, so they can punch in on their computer. So if they are, in a sense, mobile, which I know we've got the sheriff's department, they can use their laptops or their smartphone device. Also the highway, a lot of them are at their home. If they're leaving from their home to go straight out, by no means are they going to have to clock in if they get called out at 2:00 in the morning.
That's what I
We
was
can do
wondering.
that stuff.
Mhm.
But lots of discussing with highway, just trying to make sure all of these departments' needs are met. A lot of them leave directly from their home to go to the job site. So rather than have to drive to the county garage, punch in, they can either punch in on their smart device, or currently the way we have it set up, which I know Balaji's here, if the department head wants their employees to be able to manually enter their time, because the department head is still responsible because they are going to be signing off on everyone's time. So if they want them to have the right to manually enter their time instead of having to punch in or whatever, they can submit a request to payroll, which is run out of my office, asking us to that they want their employees to be able to manually enter their time. And if so, then Balaji can, on those employees, set that up. Just because the way I'm looking at on that is I don't want to go telling all these other elected officials or department heads how to manage their office. They can in a sense manage their office, and when they sign off on that time, they're the ones that are responsible for that. I'm just worried. My concern and my need for this is for us to get the information and be able to process payroll in a half a day rather than 5 days. The positives that I've heard already just from the training, they like the setup. They like the fact they're going to have the information. This is another thing that it's going to limit the phone calls or people walking over to check and see how much vacation time they have left, how much comp time they have left, because they'll be able to see it on the portal and everything. But I just want to reiterate, I hope that I do have a department head meeting the 1st of December. I was unable to be at any of the trainings yesterday because of other meetings and whatnot. I just want to reiterate that this is not in any sense trying to control other people, how they're running their office. So the department heads have the choice of how they're.
What is the consensus of the, so far that you have from the department heads, whether thumbprint or?
Thumbprint is very, very negatively thought of right now.
Okay,
So that's kind of where I'm just, in a sense, change is hard. So we're going to go into this the best way possible. The way I'm looking at it, the system will be better. I've explained that, our current system is just everybody writing 7, how many hours? We don't know what those hours consisted of. And that was the problem that we had with our current system when we had our investigation. We have to know, what did that 7 hours make up? Did you work 8 to 11 and lunch from 11 to 12? And that, so all that needs to be documented. The whole 7 isn't going to work anymore.
And Chris just touched on it a little bit. This wasn't our creation. We had a complaint filed with the State Board of Accounts about allegedly someone not working their shift. They came down and investigated it, and they told us the pencil needs to be replaced with something a little more modern.
yeah, we need
So
to come
that-
out of
so
Stone
that-
Age.
Yeah, so that we have some records, because
Right,
it was hard for them to determine if there was a problem, there wasn't a problem, and they said, you guys need to do something, and that's how this was born out of that action. So
yeah, and
it,
I know before Kelly Wilgus, your deputy, was spending 4 days a week,
5 days.
5 days a week,
Yeah.
and this is gonna cut her down to what?
A morning and half a day.
Half a day?
And here's the other thing too, we are going to, in 2025, you will see our change. Currently, right now, like I just said, we are starting time record keeping. Our January 2nd pay is for time starting work December 3rd.
Third. Mhm.
So as you see, we've already worked through with us, it kind of really helped with the current pay schedule that we were on this year, that
It falls back and picks it
27
up.
and 25, we're going to be able, so by 2025, we will be paying for the 2 weeks prior.
Right,
So that, with the way that we're doing timekeeping too, or vacation time, that's another thing that's been asked. So I'll just briefly hit on that real quick, because it's really, really something you need to hear like 10 times to understand, at least I did. With us, the way we're changing things in 2024 with people earning their vacation and sick time, we're going to, where in January of 2024, anybody who worked in 2023, okay? So currently right now, if we hire a new employee, they have to wait a whole year until they get any vacation time, okay? So all the employees who worked in 2023 will be awarded on January 1 their vacation time that they earned in 2023. This is based off of our old policy. Our new policy starting in 2024 is that you will earn 1/12 of your vacation each month. So if you have 120 hours of vacation a year, you're going to get 10 hours a month.
mhm.
Okay, so then that'll keep going on and on and on. So you won't have this lump sum in January. So it's actually, if you look at it for employees who worked in 2023, they're going to have a lump sum on January 1, and then they're going to also start earning
For
for
2024.
2024. So then they will have till March 31st of 2025 to use time from 2024.
Mhm. It
So-
won't roll over.
So there, with us changing this, there's absolutely no way that Kelly would have been able to track this manually. To have a system that's doing that, and like I've told everyone, it's going to be great, because you go in there, you're going to see how much comp time you have, you're going to see how much sick or PTO you have, how much vacation. You put your request in, it's going to have your pending amounts. If you decide you don't want to take that day, so if you go in January and you go ahead and lot out all your vacation, but then, just where you kind of have it, but you're like, oh, I don't want to take that day, you just delete it, but you'll be able to see how much you have, what you've got inputted. it's gonna be.
And it also makes
so-
it easier on department heads when scheduling stuff.
so much better. It's definitely going to be a positive thing if we can get past the change, you know.
I really like the idea about Kelly using the half morning, or one morning a
Well,
week.
If you think about it, so we're using funds. I mean, I'm going to be honest, when I came into the auditor's office in September of last year, and I was completely shocked of all of the paper pencil that we are doing, the paper pencil time cards, paper pencil claim forms, all this stuff. And I knew that there was ways that we can get some more time efficient. We cut a deputy out of the auditor's office. That saved the county an astronomical amount of money, both in salary and benefits. We wouldn't have been able to do that without this purchase from Ann Island and then the remote claims. So that one-time purchase of 18,000 and that one-time purchase of 4,000, which we didn't even have to pay the first year, is saving us long-term
Over the years.
over the years.
It'll
So
pay for itself.
I want to commend, I mean, I walked in here yesterday afternoon and your wife was here. They were all here and they had everybody's cards. They've been wonderful to work with. And we're anxious and ready to run those trials this month.
Yeah,
So
you have bugs you have to work out. That's with anything.
I think it's good that we're doing it in December.
Come on.
Yeah.
Hold on, Balaji. Let's get an approval on this
Okay.
before so we can move on, because we do have that down here at the end.
Yeah. You're gonna be up here for the
I'd
night.
entertain a motion to make the transfers of 20,000,
I make that motion.
and I'll second it. All those in favor?
Thank you guys very much.
The next thing is, let's get the contract on our
Ever-
generator
Yeah.
maintenance.
Yeah.
And I think that's something they do every year.
Yeah.
Any questions on that? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion to approve that contract for maintenance on the generator.
I make that motion.
I'll second it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Now, Lodge, you're on here. Ann Island time and attendance.
Told you you'd be up here.
Thank you for the time and of course the opportunity, and definitely we appreciate it. Couple of things, of course, like Chris said about the overall training, it went well, but again, a lot of negative impact on the people complaining about their thumb impressions, and then some people even refuse to do it. So I wanted to request one thing based on my experience in implementations in different places. We discussed earlier too, we have different options. One is the thumb impression, like say whoever they wanted to do it, it's an easy way. When they come in, they just stick their thumb or, index finger, whatever the finger they opted out. They can go through the process and then get their time in, if they are pretty much somewhere and then they cannot do it on the system, and they can log in, and then there is the same thing that's available. They can go and then click the time punch, and then the same screen comes. They can say checking in or lunch, or if they have a specific grant or something they're working on, they can, their time can be captured. That's the second option. The third option, of course, they have the timesheet, which is the approval timesheet for the 2 weeks, for the payroll processing. So the people can go and then enter their time. If they're, busy and things, they can go and then enter their time for every day, and then they can go there maybe at the end of the day or something. If they miss out for some reason, they can go and then enter their time for that particular day. So by doing this, by allowing everyone to do this one, I would say probably that would save a lot of, nightmare for especially the department head. And, probably that will shut a lot of people, their negative impact on this particular thing, that would also save a lot of things. So I would say, you give all the options to the employee and then let them, do this. Anyway, the department head, they are going to approve it. And then they know their people, what they're doing. And then my request is that you just allow the department head to review it and approve it. Anyway, they're going to review it and approve it anyway. And then it's their problem or their thing to control, which piece they wanted to use it.
Mhm.
But I would say that, you open everything to them, the employees, and then, it's a fair deal. And then also that would save time, because I feel, based on my experience, even at Century, whenever we implemented the system, they had the same, thumb thing. But then again, they had the guard check. So if there is some problem with them, they cannot, checking in or something like that, the guard check people, administrator, we gave another way to check in
Punch
them,
in person.
punch
Bunch
in.
them in there.
So instead of that, we are giving this option, which is, they're all, employees, they have their desk, or maybe they have a kiosk, I don't know whether highway department, how they will be working, maybe if they have a kiosk or something like that, like a common desktop.
Mhm.
And then we have made a clear cheat sheet, and then, all will be getting the digital copy. And then each application, when they click the, the specific app inside the system, that will also have a help menu on the side. So they can also see digitally, those kind of things. We haven't finalized that one, mainly because we want to make sure that everything works perfectly, and then people are clear. A couple of things which came up during the meeting. Sheriff Department, they wanted to, change whether overtime or comp time, they want to decide at the time of approval. So we are going to make that change. We are going to provide that additional, functionality for that department or any department, whoever wants it. So that's one thing which we are going to add. The other bigger challenge what we have is about this, the vacation thing. So the vacation thing, of course, like Chris said, you have that 1/12 and all those rules are taken care. But the biggest challenge is that 2 weeks in advance or something that came up, during the meeting. So that is going to be a complex thing, because we want to know how it'll be audited, So that means, so for example, if someone is having a rollover, like 23, they're having some rollover account, whatever the 120 hours they have in bank, plus they are going to get this 1/12. That's going to work perfectly, no problem for them. They have something in advance.
Mhm.
But there are some people, they will have negative, there is nothing there. Let's say they have 0 in rollover, 0 in starting of the year, but still they want to take 2 weeks in advance. And then that also, what I'm saying, what I got the information is that everyone will get their 2 weeks of worth of their time. So everyone, for example, if it's a sheriff department, they have like 84 hour or something like that, right? So that 84 hours, some people will be getting 70 hours.
See, the way we were set this up originally was that new employees who had not earned sufficient amount of vacation, let's say they wanted to go on spring break, and they didn't have sufficient vacation. We were going to allow them to go on vacation. If they work their entire year, it's fine. But if they go on vacation and then cease to be a county employee, we had it where we would actually charge them back on the last paycheck. That's just what we were doing. So it's not going to impact a lot of people. Let's be the new hirees that start out with, very little vacation. The ones that's been around, it won't make a difference. So you might want to consider that.
They're actually buying their vacation time on credit.
They're actually, yeah. They're
Or the loaner
negative
kind
on
of thing, that's what we were talking about, like a loaner bucket,
something like that.
which is, and then which, which we came to know only during this meeting.
Mhm.
And we are trying to get that one, at the earliest, but that may not be ready, immediately. But whereas the other things would be ready.
Yeah, well, we're not gonna have, I don't anticipate hiring anybody soon, so you'll have a little time on
Yeah.
that. It'll only impact that new hiree.
Okay, so it won't be,
It won't be
Because
crucial.
everybody that worked in 2023 is gonna have a balance, because
Yeah,
they're
they'll
gonna
have
work
the
2024.
because
It's
I
only
was,
gonna be the new
I was told like
hires.
2 weeks, if they don't have the thing, and then there is a 2-week rule, and that's what I've got confused. And then that means if someone doesn't have that, they want a negative, which is like a loaner kind of a bucket.
And let's say, for
So-
instance, if you are eligible for, what is the lowest, a week or 2 weeks?
1 week.
1 week. Okay, as an example, if I hire on as of January 1st and I want to take off the end of March,
Mhm.
I've actually worked 3 months
Mhm.
and I want to take a week off. I don't have sufficient vacation.
Yeah.
I can take my week off, I can go to Florida, and then if I continue with the county employment, I will get my week's vacation. But if I decide after I come back, I just want to quit,
Mhm.
then whatever I haven't earned will be charged back against my last paycheck to get the money back.
Yeah,
So
we've
the
added
county-
that to our offboarding.
Okay.
We've created onboarding and offboarding checklists just so we don't miss anything. That's just
Mhm.
something.
And that's what that function allows. It allows someone that's a new employee not to have to say, I can't go with the family on vacation. We're allowing them to do that. And if they continue to work, it won't even be an issue.
Mhm.
And generally,
That's
most places, new employees, they don't get a week's vacation until after the first year.
Correct.
So in a sense, we're just loaning them the money until,
We're loaning them the vacation.
So you're okay with, a little bit delay in that
Sure.
particular?
Mhm.
Because that won't be anything that'll probably be crucial at all.
Okay.
No, we won't have that.
You understand all this, Steve?
I'm trying to.
Okay.
So other than that,
Marilyn
I
will
think
get you.
we have, everything,
Good to go.
good to
That's
go, so everything is good. But like, again, I want to request one more time, probably tell all the department heads to say, maybe clearly say whether they are okay with going with this particular process of giving them access,
We're doing
all
that.
the options. Or, if they say, no, we don't want, then we have to work on plan B.
The way
Because,
I decided to set that up is we're not having it open right now. It's just and we have a department. Right now, it's just the thumbprint.
Mhm.
It's the
the time,
computer, web, whatever, or department head can manually enter. If the department head wants their employees to be able to manually enter their time, so basically do what they're doing now
Mhm.
with documented time, not just the 7, then they can send a written request to HR that they want that, and then I'll submit that to you for them
so
to do
still,
that.
you don't want the
I
time?
don't want them to be, I want the department head to decide that.
Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
do you want to tell during the department meeting, you were saying?
Yep.
Okay,
So
because,
you'll know by December the 3rd when
yeah,
this
so
starts.
Yeah,
before
you will
that,
know.
we wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
Because then we can have the option of, one is the edit time, the other one is the display.
Yes.
So what will happen is that if the same time sheet, they can view it for the entire 2 weeks.
Mhm.
For any pay period, they can go through, they can, skip through, and then they can see that.
Yeah.
And then the only thing is, still, they have to submit.
They have to submit
Every,
it to the
yeah,
department head.
every person has to submit.
Mhm.
So that's why when they have to submit, they have to make sure that, their thing is correct. But otherwise, they had to go and then, every time they had to talk to their department head
To edit and do all
and
that stuff.
edit
yeah.
and do, that's why it's
Yeah.
going to be,
I just
a
want it
lengthy process.
documented that the
Mhm.
department head wants them to
Okay.
be able to.
Yeah, as long as-
enter it.
I think if you want a few minutes during your department head meeting,
Okay.
I can even come there and then explain what it is. And then if they say, okay, then it'll be an easy thing.
I
to-
apologize that I didn't make it to the trainings yesterday.
Oh, that's
Just had other
fine. That's
meetings.
not an issue. Yeah.
So I'll definitely be there the
We have-
29th. and
We
then
have
the 7th.
3 more, I think,
2 more, 4 more.
4 more sessions.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. I think we have like 41 people came so far out of 178. So
I think everybody was intrigued, and ready to hear about it, so.
the first one was good, like 28 people came, then afterwards slowly. So
The morning, everybody was Johnny on it in the morning.
maybe they're waiting for Thanksgiving, so
Thank you
thank
guys
you.
so much.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
And then,
And thank you for taking the time and being patient.
so now what we need to do is approve. If you're comfortable with this, Chris, we'll approve the contract as
Yes.
written.
And we will keep you updated throughout this month as we run these trials.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, now I'm questioning, like, the handbook. I was wondering, you guys were talking about how you can borrow and pay it back if you leave before you have accrued those hours, that's how my work is also. But do we have to have them sign something? Because I just didn't know with labor laws, if there's anything that says you cannot withhold their pay for anything. I feel like you might have to sign something.
But we're not
we're
withholding
not
their
withholding
pay.
anything.
No,
We're
it's,
giving
they're
them
gonna
their
owe
pay.
us.
Yeah.
Well, I know, but technically their last check, if you're taking something out of it, I mean, I don't know. I think it
Yeah,
just.
we would
might wanna
have to
check.
provide them
Maybe
the
check with
I
the
will.
Wagner,
reason
Shealy, Irwin.
why we're doing it. And it would be simply the fact that they utilized vacation that was unearned.
I totally
Yeah.
understand why, because
The biggest
I did
thing
the
is
same
with
thing,
that
but
law, my
just make sure.
understanding is that we can't accumulate their pay
Mhm.
and hold it and say, we'll pay you at some date in the future. As
That's
it
just-
comes in,
But I'll check.
I feel like I had to sign something, but I work for a company on the East Coast, so.
See, that's.
I'm
Well,
just
I'd
letting you
say
know.
that signing the acknowledgement of the personnel policy handbook,
As long as it's specifically in there. I didn't look, but
okay,
I'll
I'll
look
check
again.
into that. Thank
I
you.
just thought,
You know, that's
just
just
to be
like,
safe,
I
I think it's a great thing.
Are provided uniforms where you work. If you don't get your last paycheck until those uniforms are turned back in. You don't turn them in, they take those uniforms out of your last check.
Mhm.
That's exactly the way that
it's the
goes.
same concept.
Yes, it is, same concept.
I'd entertain a motion to approve the contract with Ann Island.
I make that motion.
I'll second it. All those in favor?
Aye.
2-0 aye.
Man, this place is clearing out.
Yeah. We're getting boring, Becky. Last item we have is county health insurance benefits and rates.
Mhm.
Reason Chris wasn't over here, she was back in the room with us on the health insurance. It's been we got through it.
It's a challenge.
So let's say that,
We got
but we have two, I believe, well-qualified companies that made us offers. We had discussions. We now are going to go on a network that we were never eligible to get on before because we didn't have a sufficient amount of workforce. We're going on the Blue Cross Blue Shield Anthem one, which is the largest one in the United States, the most affordable. It will actually save our employees $1,000 out of their pocket if they hit those maximums. It's a national network versus a regional one. So if they're in Florida, Arizona, or California, if they find the Blue Cross Blue Shield, the Anthem, they're in and they're in network. It's one thing that was uniform. Both insurance providers both told us that's where you want to be. And so that was the easy part of it. And we've managed to get on there. It should allow us not to have to increase any rates for 24
And that's a plus.
and should save the counties a little bit of money. So it's a win for the employees, a win for the county. We've got a better network. At times it was a little stressful, but we got through it. The insurance committee made up of Chris, myself, and David Achen agreed this is the path we want to take, and we're moving forward.
I will say this, in my working career of 38 years, 2 months, 3 days and 6 hours, and I've got that down pat. I went through 6 different insurance companies, and Anthem Blue Cross was absolutely the best one we ever had. I mean, we've been through like I said, I went through 6 in those years.
This is an amazing thing because throughout everything, we've been talking about insurance for the last 3-4 months, since about August. It was just told that we didn't have enough head count.
Employees.
We didn't have enough head count to be a part of this. So
Mhm.
this is a huge, huge positive, as Randy said, for us to even have this opportunity to be in the anthem.
That's good.
So what we have to do is we have to accept the health insurance benefit rates stay the same for 24, and we'll have a new provider on this, a new agent of record is what they call it. So I'd entertain a motion to accept the Anthem Network and the USI Insurance Agency as our provider for the year 2024.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, 2-0. That's the last item we have on our agenda. Thank you, folks, that weathered us through the whole entire meeting, and have a safe and healthy Thanksgiving.
Next
Yes.
meeting is December 4th at 9 p.m. Or 9 a.m. I said p.m.
Yeah.
9 a.m.
9 a.m. December 4th. I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Good evening.